Okay, hi everybody. We're taking a minute or two to let people log in, join us this evening before we get started. And as usual, I like to welcome everyone as you're logging in and say, I'm Susan Greeley. I'm the National Director of Wellness Services at Castle Connolly Private Health Partners. Again, we're taking a minute or so to let people log in. And we'll get started in about 1 minute. As I'm waiting for more participants to come on, for those who are joining for the first time, I always start by saying that these wellness webinars are intended to educate and support our members, the members of Castle Connolly Private Health Partners, in the 4 pillars of our SENS wellness program, with those pillars being sleep, exercise, nutrition, and stress management. So through these events, it's my goal to truly empower all of you to make positive lifestyle choices and daily habits that support your well-being. And that's what we're going to focus on tonight, as usual. So let me see, as we have a nice group, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, welcome. With these events, as always, we have a Q&A at the end of the presentation, so do feel free to submit questions at any point during the webinar. Welcome those. We will also be sending out a recording of this event this evening with the PowerPoint slides, so do look for that tomorrow. And again, thank you for joining me tonight for the SENS Wellness webinar. Our topic tonight is managing stress in unusual times and how meditation and mindfulness practices help. I believe all of us need this at the moment. I'm happy to have a wonderful meditation teacher with us this evening who is going to provide some very applicable tools to help you manage stress and reconnect with yourself and others. And I'd like to say anytime and anywhere. And I think that's a really key aspect. So as far as stress, which is tremendous these days for most of us, stress can move mountains, and that's not necessarily in a good way, unfortunately. In fact, we know that excessive mental and emotional stress can have some very, very negative effects on our physical health and well-being. So thankfully, on the flip side, there are numerous studies that do demonstrate how having a daily meditation practice can help manage our relationship. We have an individual relationship with stress and anxiety, and it also has a lasting positive effect on our overall physical health and well-being. So that said, it's challenging, I'm sure, for people to say, I know this and I'm happy, I hope that's why you're here. How do we make it a part of our daily life and make it a daily habit? So that said, now more than ever, I believe we all need to develop daily habits to manage stress and mitigate that stress in our daily lives. So again, tonight's topic, managing stress in unusual times, how meditation and mindfulness practices help. I'm happy to introduce our speaker, Linda Souders. She's here this evening from California. Linda began her formal study of meditation 20 years ago when attending a day-long meditation retreat with John Travis at the Spirit Rock Meditation Center in beautiful Marin County, California, I have to add. She then sought further meditation guidance and branched out into Berkeley and San Francisco to continue her studies with some very prominent meditation teachers. Linda also brings her passion for meditation to her teachings as a yoga instructor. So meditation is the 7th of the 8 components of yoga. It's a very nice pairing. She's the founding teacher, or one of the founding teachers, with Journey Meditation, and has been helping people live happier, healthier, less stressed lives through Journey since 2015. So Linda, thank you for being here tonight. With that said, I will turn things over to you.
Thank you, Susan. I'm so happy to be here tonight with all of you, and thank you for joining us. Meditation is such a simple technique, and once you learn it, you have it for the rest of your life. And it's like any skill, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And for meditation, the more you do it, the more easily it's woven into your day-to-day life. So, like Susan said, I started meditating over 20 years ago. And I had friends, we went up to Spirit Rock for a day long, and I thought it was interesting. And quite frankly, I went into meditation thinking that it was perhaps a complicated spiritual technique that only a few could master after maybe sitting in a mountaintop cave alone for several years. And what I learned is that it's that so far from that idea. It's a simple mental exercise. So at Journey, I teach with Journey Meditation now, and we really stress that what is meditation? It's a simple mental exercise for training our brain. So the brain, like the other muscles of the body, is malleable, meaning that it can change its shape. So for example, if you were going to do bicep curls consistently over time, your bicep would change its shape. It's the same concept with your brain. If you do mental exercises such as meditation, or even crossword puzzles, or learning a new hobby, your brain actually changes its shape. And researchers from around the world have been looking at what happens to our brain and our body when we meditate, because they want to understand this technique that human beings have been doing for thousands of years, why this simple technique, this simple practice of focusing on a single point creates such amazing benefits. It's like a domino effect of benefits that occur in the body and the mind. And what they found is that we have in the brain something called the amygdala. It's an almond-shaped piece, and there's one in each hemisphere of our brain. And the amygdala is active on brain scans when we're feeling anxious or fearful. But when we sit down to meditate, that same area begins to calm and shrink in size. It's amazing. They can see this happening on brain scans of meditators. And at the same time, we have something in our brain called the prefrontal cortex. And this area of the brain is active when we're feeling happy or positive emotions. When we meditate, this same area of the brain begins to expand and grow. So our anxiety and fear center shrinks, and our happiness and positive emotion center begins to grow. It's amazing. So a couple of studies I wanted to share with you. One was out of Harvard University. They found that after just 8 weeks of meditation practice, that amygdala begins to shrink. Just 8 weeks. And so it's a pretty quick transition. And like I mentioned, it's a lifelong practice. Once you learn it, you have it with you. And so if you don't start strong right out the gate, totally fine. When I first started meditating, I thought it was an interesting concept, and I started meditating here and there. I'd go around with friends and sit in these groups. But it wasn't until I reached the really challenging periods of my life did I realize how the practice was beginning to show up. So when I went through, for example, the economic crash of 08, 09, I went through a career transition at that point. I also went through a divorce. I'm a mother, parenting. So I had my stressful moments, and I realized that if I focused on the breath, like I was trained to do, it was almost as if I was hopping on a surfboard. And then I could ride the ups and the downs of my life, feeling more balanced, more calm, and happier, really, because I learned that no matter what comes along, no matter what wave comes along in my life, I have this breath, I have this surfboard. I come to my breath, I hop on that surfboard, and I just ride it out. And that's really what I want to share with you tonight. I want to share with you the simple practice that then once you learn it, you'll take forward with you. A couple more things to note, that when these studies going on around the world, when we take even 10 minutes a day to sit and close our eyes and focus on one point in Journey, we use the breath. not only does the amygdala shrink, but the cortisol levels in our blood reduce, our heart rate slows down, our breathing slows down. We become clearer in the mind, which enables us to concentrate better, and our memory improves, which is important because as technology increases, our memory spans are shortening, so meditation helps to counteract that. The quality of our sleep improves, our mood improves, and our immune system improves. One last study to share with you was done at the University of Wisconsin, where they took two groups. One were meditators and one were non-meditators, and they were all injected with the same flu, antibodies, flu vaccine, thank you. And the meditators actually developed more antibodies to the virus than did the non-meditators. And so there are other studies that have looked at meditation in relation to the immune system and realized that meditation boosts our immune system. So many benefits. That's just kind of a short list of them. And again, I can tell you that I've been doing this for a long time, and this is why I now teach, because it's been so important in my life. It's really transformed my ability to really enjoy life. And so one final note, as you cultivate the ability to focus on the breathing and in essence hop on your surfboard, you start to enjoy life more. You'll be able to relax into a bit more. And I'm speaking from experience, knowing that whatever comes, I have this ability to ground myself, and I can relax and really enjoy the ride, whatever's happening. And again, it's a practice, okay? So even if you take a couple of mindful breaths each day as you encounter a challenging moment, it all adds up over time. So a couple of things to note before we move into meditation is that sometimes people think meditation is about clearing the mind. Meditation is actually about giving our busy mind, a focus. So really, there's not any way to clear the mind because the mind is always working, and it's doing a very good job for you, by the way. It's reminding you when to eat, when to sleep, that you have an appointment coming up, that you have a loved one's birthday coming up. So the mind does a really good job, but it's always turned on. It's always busy. And so in meditation, we give ourselves a focal point so that we can step away from that busy mind and create a bit of space between our awareness and whatever's happening in the outer world. Starting off, I wanted to share with you a couple of breathing techniques. So at Journey, we focus on the breath because it's always with us 24/7. And there are different meditations that use different points of focus. Maybe you've heard that some focus on a word or an object. Focusing on the breath is a very traditional point of focus, and we do it because, like I said, you have it with you always. And one other side note, if you've ever heard of Dr. Andrew Weil, he's one of the leaders of holistic health in this country. He said, if I had to limit my advice on healthier living to just one tip, it would be simply to breathe correctly. That's powerful. If I had to limit my advice on healthier living to just one tip, it would be simply to breathe correctly. So the meditation practice helps you to tune into the breath, and then over time you start to breathe more correctly. So I'd like to lead you through a couple of breathing techniques, and then I'll give you a technique that we're going to practice for our meditation, and then I'll guide you through a meditation practice. So the first breathing technique is called the restoration breath. And what I'd like you to do is get comfortable in your seat. If you're in your chair, feet flat on the floor, about hip width distance apart. Lift and lengthen your spine, so you're opening up space for your lungs to breathe fully. If ever you're sitting on the floor, you can cross-legged or straight-legged cultivate a foundation and then lift and lengthen the spine. As you're lifting the spine up, allow the shoulder blades to relax down. You don't need to use your shoulders in meditation, so allow them to relax. Planting palms face down helps to ground you. And when you're ready, you can close your eyes and give yourself a deep breath. Inhaling all the way up and exhaling all the way out. Settling back into your natural rhythm. The restoration breath is an ancient breathing technique meant to rest and restore your nervous system. So I'll guide you through it. The way it's going to work is you'll inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7 counts, and exhale for 8 counts. And as you're moving through this, if ever it feels cumbersome or uncomfortable, please feel free to resort to your natural rhythm of breathing. Okay, on your next exhale, go ahead and empty all the breath from your body. On your inhale, begin to fill for 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way up, and hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Returning to your natural rhythm of breathing. With eyes still closed, focus on your breath. Observe the inhale. Observe the exhale. Observing the constant wave of breath moving in and out of your body. The second breathing technique is called the square breath. And this breathing technique can be done at any time, really any place, when you feel the need to reset and rebalance. So if you're coming down the elevator after a long day at work, you can do your square breath. If you're sitting in the train commuting, you can do your square breath. If you're sitting at home quarantined, you can do your square breath. It's a great way to reset and rebalance. Again, I'll guide you through it. We will repeat it 3 times. And if ever it's uncomfortable, please resort to your natural rhythm. On your next exhale, go ahead and clear your lungs, exhaling completely. On your inhale, fill for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and return to your natural rhythm of breathing, focusing on your breath, aware of that wave. Whenever your mind wanders off, return it to your breathing. And lastly, I'd like to introduce you to a technique called sitting on the riverbank. And this is something that we will be practicing in our meditation tonight. This is a mindfulness technique for cultivating your inner calm and peace. And it can be done anywhere, anytime. In fact, I often use this throughout the day as I come upon a stressful moment. I just take a moment to sit on the riverbank and then I proceed with the rest of what's going on. So how it works is imagine yourself stepping out of a river onto its bank, sitting down and simply observing the water flow by. The water is a metaphor for the constant flow of thoughts through your mind, constant flow of emotions through your body, and the constant flow of physical sensations through your body. As you step away from the flow, untangling, unblending, and simply observing, you create a space between your awareness and whatever is flowing, whatever is happening in the moment. And in this space, you can experience peace and calm. So let's take a few moments to set up for meditation practice. Again, focusing on your breath, taking a moment to press the reset button by savoring a breath. Practice returning your focus to your breathing. As we practice returning our focus to the breathing, what we're doing is cultivating the habit of returning our awareness to the present moment. And as soon as we return to the present moment, we're stepping away from the busy mind. Take a moment here at the start of meditation to set a one-word intention representing a quality you are seeking to cultivate in your life. It's always helpful to ask yourself, why did I show up to meditation tonight? What is it that I'm seeking to cultivate? And there's your intention. With that intention in mind, let's cycle up our breathing with 3 deep breaths. On your next inhale, fill all the way up. At the top, pause to think of your intention. And on the exhale, release your breath all the way out. Again, inhaling all the way up. Pause with your intention. And exhale all the way out. One more cycle. Inhale, intention, and exhale. As you settle back into your natural rhythm of breathing, bring focus down into your feet, noticing your feet at rest, becoming aware. And now shift focus to your hands, becoming aware of your hands at rest. And now shift focus to the very top of your head. Getting ready for a body scan. We're going to sweep awareness down through the whole body to cultivate awareness without needing to judge anything or change anything. Although I do invite you, if it feels right, to release any stored tension in the area we focus on by releasing it with your exhale. And a side note is, as we move through our meditation, if ever a question pops up in your mind, make a mental note of that, to ask that at the end of our practice. From the very top of your head, bring awareness into all the muscles of your scalp. Become aware of that area. And if it works, use your exhale to release any stored tension. Begin to focus on your eyes. Eyes at rest, softened. Become aware of your temples. Breathing full and steady. Perhaps releasing any tension with your exhale. Bring awareness to your cheeks. Allow your cheeks to soften and rest. Allow your jaw to slack. Move awareness down into your neck. Notice your throat and any sensations in your throat. Tension melting away with your exhale. Become aware of your shoulders. Shoulders at rest, softened and relaxed. Notice your arms dangling freely. Weight of your arms settling down onto the foundation of your hands. Hands and fingers letting go. Now bring awareness to your heart. See if you can identify your heartbeat. Feeling the pulse in your body. Allowing your heart to soften and release tension. Move awareness down now into your belly and allow your belly to soften and release tension. Become aware of your foundation, your upper body settled down onto that foundation, your seat. Notice your legs at rest, feet and toes letting go. And now with your whole body at rest, yet still alert by maintaining that lift through the spine and alertness in the mind. Bring your focus to your breathing. Aware of your inhale. Aware of your exhale. Focusing on your breathing. At some point, your focus will naturally wander off, being called by thoughts flowing through your busy mind. So if your attention was already pulled away, notice to where it was pulled, which thought. Take a few moments, all of you, to simply observe the flow of thoughts through the mind, as if you're just listening in. If this feels foreign, that's okay. Do your best. Noticing the thoughts constantly flowing through your mind. as though you're sitting on your riverbank, observing. As your focus continues to wander about, captured by another thought, begin to unblend and untangle, by this time bringing your focus to the emotions flowing through you. Sitting on your riverbank, observing the emotional flow, labeling whatever's there, probably many waves at once. Again, if this is foreign or unfamiliar, that's okay. Do your best to tune in to what you're feeling emotionally. Unblended, untangled, observing, and labeling. Breathing full and steady. If ever you're feeling too intense, focus on the breath. As your focus continues to wander about, jumping here and there, this time guide it to the sensations you're feeling in your body. Giving yourself a body scan. Notice the sensations calling for your attention. Perhaps subtle, perhaps strong. Simply tune in and observe. Sitting on your riverbank, observing the flow of sensations in your body. As your focus continues to wander about, the mind has been referred to as the monkey mind because it's constantly jumping from one thought to the next to the next. So allowing that to happen naturally, noticing, and this time bring your focus to your sense of sound and pause to notice the sounds you're hearing in this present moment. As your focus drifts away, gently guide it back to the sounds you're hearing in this new moment. Notice that they may have changed. Wherever your focus may have wandered, this time gently guide it to your sense of smell and allow whatever aroma or fragrance registering in your sense of smell to land in your field of awareness. Perhaps subtle, perhaps strong. It doesn't matter. You're simply observing, sitting on your riverbank, observing what's flowing through your sense of smell in this unique moment. If your focus wandered away from your sense of smell, simply notice. And this time, everyone, guide your focus to your sense of taste. Tuning in, observing, perhaps subtle, perhaps strong. It doesn't matter. You're simply becoming aware. Sitting on your riverbank, observing the flow through your sense of taste. Continuing to breathe full and steady as you focus on your sense of taste. As your focus continues to wander here and there, this time guide your focus to your sense of touch, pausing to notice the temperature of the air on your skin in this present moment. Pause to notice the feel of your clothing resting against your skin, its weight, its texture. And pausing to notice whatever your fingertips are feeling in this present moment. Just as your breathing constantly ebbs and flows with your inhale and your exhale to form a breath, your focus continues to ebb and flow in meditation to form meditation. Your mind wanders off, you return it to your focal point. It wanders off, you bring it back to your focal point. This time, return your wandering mind to your breathing, circling back to where you started with your breath, aware of your inhale, aware of your exhale, focusing on that constant wave of breath flowing in and out of your body. As we slowly begin to draw our meditation to a close, remember your intention. With your next inhale, fill all the way up. At the top, pause to think of your intention. And exhale to release your breath all the way out and send out that intention. Settling back into your natural rhythm of breathing. And before you open your eyes, let's take a moment of gratitude where you feel grateful for this practice of meditation, thousands of years old. Feeling grateful that your company has offered you this practice, and feeling grateful that you have shown up to learn this technique, cultivate all the benefits within you, which will then extend out and benefit all those around you. And finally, bring to mind just one thing in your life for which you have a deep gratitude. Just one thing. And with that in your mind's eye, notice how the energy of gratitude feels in your body. Allow that energy to extend out past your body, filling the world around you. And then whenever you're ready, and in your own time, you can gently blink your eyes open, coming back into your room. And notice, how are you feeling in your mind and in your body? You can move around if you need to wake up, stretch. You might be feeling a subtle shift, a subtle change. You might be feeling something more strong. Again, it doesn't matter. You're simply becoming aware of what's happening in this unique moment of your life. What's happening in your body, what's happening in your mind, your emotions, observing. Okay, I hope that some of you were making mental notes of the questions popping up in your head as we moved through this practice. And I think Susan will be leading the Q&A.
Yeah. Bear with me 1 minute while I also come back to the present moment. Thank you, Linda. That was incredible. And yes, we do have just a couple questions that I see have come through. And if others are also sort of coming back to their senses and want to ask questions, please,
Yes.
absolutely do. So the first one, Linda, is can you discuss the difference between nose breathing versus mouth breathing, please?
Okay, good question. Thank you. Apparently, the way our bodies are built, when we breathe through the nose, our breathing is more efficient. But it's really about what's comfortable for you. We're all different. Our bodies are shaped and built differently. So if mouth breathing works better for you, if you find yourself able to relax better with mouth breathing, then by all means, go ahead and do that.
Okay, so it's, I guess neither is better than the other, and it's individual, is what you're saying.
Well, I guess for efficiency's sake, I mean, it's been written and stated that through the nose is more efficient for the body's systems functioning. But I know some people have a hard time breathing through their nose. And so if that's laborious, I would say, you breathe through the mouth, completely fine.
Okay.
Meditation, excuse me, quick interjection here, Susan, is meant to be comfortable. And there are two schools of thinking about this. One school is to just create a static position. And if you're uncomfortable breathing through the nose, just notice that there's discomfort there. Or if your foot's falling asleep or your knee is in pain, just notice that. But I'm of the school of thinking that our bodies have their own wisdom. They grew you, they breathe you, you cut your finger, it heals, you break a bone, it mends. You don't tell your body how to do this, it knows how to do this. And so when your body is speaking to you, saying, please breathe through the mouth, there's a reason. And if your foot is falling asleep, it's because a nerve is being compressed. And if you continue to keep that up, you could cause some damage. Likewise, with a knee in pain, you could be overstretching a tendon. So I'm really of the school of thinking that listen to your body and honor its wisdom, trust it, and be comfortable in your meditation practice.
Love that. The comfort level is huge, right? To
Yes.
make it a daily practice, which takes me to the next question, which is, it's a great one, I think applicable for all. She says, I like meditating, but forget to do it all the time. Do you have any suggestions to help make it a daily habit?
These are great questions. And for those of you who think of a question, please feel free to share, because if chances are, if you're thinking it, so is someone else. And these questions help everybody. So yes, great question. We recommended Journey, which I think is just standard for meditators, to find one time a day when you can meditate. So same time. The tips to cultivating a daily practice are to meditate same time and same place every day, because when we do this, the habit takes root more quickly. But you can play around too, like try first thing in the morning if that's available for you. I know sometimes if you're a parent with small children, first time in the morning is not your time. You can try right before you go to bed, but I know a lot of us are fatigued and that's not going to work either. You can try middle of the day on your lunch hour. Find the time that works best for you and then stick with that time. And it will shift around too as you meditate throughout your life. I meditate now in the morning, whereas I couldn't when my daughter was a baby. So same time, same place. And then if you set a reminder, just like we schedule in our doctor's appointments and our work meetings, write that on your calendar. So it'll jog your memory when you're looking at your calendar every day. Oh, there's my meditation time. And then to set a trigger. If you're going to go running, sometimes setting your gym shoes by the door helps, trigger you. Oh, it's time to run. So meditation, it can be to put your meditation cushion or your chair next to the bed so that as soon as you get up, you see it, or yoga mat, whatever you're using. And the last one is to what I call find your why. Why are you going to take time, precious time, out of your very busy day to show up to this practice over and over again? For me, it's because I want to feel calm and happy as I move through the moments of my life. I don't want to rush through it in a stressed blur. And so that's why I take time to meditate every day. It helps me to ground, feel calm and balanced. So find your why. And then when you're wavering, oh, I have better things to do, I have this big long to-do list, you remember, but I'm meditating because I'm cultivating a certain something.
That's excellent. Those are very helpful and doable. So time, same place, the trigger, and finding your why. I got it.
Yeah. Right? Okay. Yeah. No, and did you say reminder?
Oh, the reminder. Set a reminder. So time, place, the trigger, or reminder.
And Journey also throws in one extra, which is to give yourself a reward, because if you've done work, you need a reward. And so maybe if you're meditating first thing in the morning, you wait and have your coffee or your green smoothie after you meditate. If you're doing it before you go to sleep, maybe then you put on a scented eye pillow. Maybe during the middle of the day, you wait and then you have lunch, or you have a piece of chocolate, something that feels like a reward for doing it.
I know. Journey, for all of those who've attended a live Journey event that we've held, there is always the chocolate at the end. And I love that it is a little reward. So nice. Okay, plenty more questions. So one is this person has two questions kind of all in one. She says she immediately felt the need to yawn as we started the breathing exercise, and that was distracting for her. And is this normal? And then she also follows up with, what if you fall asleep unintentionally, of course?
Yeah, those are great questions. We get those a lot as well. So the yawning and the tendency to fall asleep, I would check in with your sleep level. Again, your body's intelligence may be talking to you and saying to you, you need more sleep. And if sleep is so important, just going to stress that, I know a lot of us say, oh, I have so much to do, I can't sleep more, or we're taught in our culture to kind of wear as little sleep as possible. as we can get, like as a badge of our strength. But in reality, getting adequate sleep is one of the best things you can do for your performance and your happiness. And Jeff Bezos has talked about this. Arianna Huffington wrote a book, The Sleep Revolution. She literally collapsed from exhaustion, fell on her floor, hit her head, stitches, passed out, the whole 9 yards. Maybe you've read the book or heard of it. And she said, until we renew our relationship with sleep, we're not going to have full control of our lives and be able to live to our fullest potential, live our best life. So check in with your sleep. And then if you're getting adequate sleep and you are yawning, and you're distracted by that, you just use that as your practice. Oh, that's where my mind wandered, and I'm going to bring it back to focus on the breath. And if it's distracted by the yawning, you bring it back to the breath. That's your ebb and flow. And if you're feeling fatigued in your practice and with the eyes closed, you can always open your eyes and gaze softly ahead of you, or shift around in your seat, something to help you stay alert. These are great questions. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And I just want to say sleep is a superpower. So that's exactly true. Our last webinar was on sleep. And so, yeah, I could talk about that forever. It's fundamental to our health and well-being.
Yes.
All right, the next question. These are fabulous. What's the relationship, if any, between transcendental meditation and what you taught today?
Another good question. There are thousands of types of meditation. TM is just one. I've never experienced TM. I've read a little bit about it. I think that you all use a mantra, or they use a mantra as opposed to the breath. But I think ultimately all meditations lead to the same point, which is to focus our busy mind, to step out of the busy mind and just observe, create that space between our awareness and whatever's happening in the moment, to cultivate the calm and the peace. And so there are many routes to Rome, and TM just takes a different path to get there.
Thank you. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. The next one, what tips can you, sorry, I moved the question. What tips in this, I felt as well, can you offer to remind ourselves to keep our torso and upper body straight?
Oh, that's a great one. So again, your body's intelligence should be telling you through pain signals or signals of discomfort when your body isn't upright. And here's a fun fact, that our bodies are like a stack of blocks, in the sense that when one block is stacked atop the next in alignment, they stay up with ease, right? But as soon as you take the blocks out of alignment, they fall over. And the same is true with our bodies. When one joint is stacked atop the next, so knees over ankles, hips over knees, shoulders over hips, and then finally ears over shoulders, we stay up with ease. And so when we come out of alignment, our bodies don't fall over, but our muscles engage to hold us up. And the muscles stuck in that holding pattern are going to start to talk to you and say, ouch, can you bring me back into alignment, into ease? And so practice tuning into the sensations of your body. So if you're not upright, your body will probably be saying something in some way, and then follow its wisdom and bring yourself back. So you should be getting the cues from the body. And I hope that helps. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps. So the next one, how important, back to this, the regularity and the daily practice, how important is it to have a regular meditation or breathing practice as opposed to doing it whenever you remember? And what are, I guess more specifically, what are the benefits of that regular routine?
Yeah, good question. So the benefits of a regular practice are you're cultivating the benefits more quickly. So it's like any skill. Let's take tennis again as an example. If you played tennis once every 2 weeks, you would improve but it would take longer than if you were practicing tennis every day, right? And so like the improvement part is, I'm putting that in quotes because it's really about becoming mindful and cultivating the calm and the peace. So it just takes longer, but that's okay. And, because I don't think anyone starts right out the gate really strong. In fact, I talk to a lot of meditators, and even those who start off the gate really strong, they have times when they don't meditate for a while and then they come back to it. And then it's like building a muscle, right? A habit. So over time, if you just stick with it in your own rhythm, and whatever rhythm is you have is fine, it will build to the point where I just meditate naturally every day. And even if it's not a formal sit, it's a mindfulness, it's an awareness. And another fun fact, there's a meditation teacher named Thich Nhat Hanh. You might have heard of him. He's in his 90s now. He was a big influencer of Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize. And I heard him interviewed, and the interviewer asked him, do you meditate every day? And he said, well, at this point, my whole life is a meditation. He's just so aware and so mindful. So, you do what you can, and over time it builds. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is kind of piggybacking that, and I think this would be helpful for some. The question is, and this might make it easier to do more regularly, is can you recommend some sort of quote unquote speed meditating resource? This is for this person's spouse, who is a big YouTube user. So there's that point, and she states he's also elderly, and to do something quick and dirty would help, but definitely under 5 minutes. So is that still better than nothing?
Yeah, that's definitely a good start. And
what do you recommend? I guess, is there a resource you recommend? I know Journey Live has the minis, by the way.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
That would be the starting point. Yeah.
Great starting point. And YouTube, I know, has a lot of.
Yeah, there's so many resources online. I work with Journey, so I always say start with Journey. But even if you or he, your partner, took one time every day just to take 3 mindful breaths, and then maybe the next week 4 mindful breaths, and or 1 minute of bringing the wandering mind back to focus on a single point. And side note, the point of focus doesn't matter as much as just returning your wandering mind back there. We use the breath because it's a traditional point of focus, but as you move through the practice today, maybe you really enjoy returning focus to your sense of sound. So you could use your sense of sound as your focal point. So yeah, I would say start small, start where you are, and then it may grow from there. I'm going to guess it grows, and if it doesn't and small works, then stick with short and sweet.
Okay. Yeah, completely agree.
Oh, so one other thing to say on that note is Journey recommends 10 minutes a day because we feel that 10 minutes is long enough to receive the benefits, but short enough to fit into your daily life. But having said that, whenever works for you, then do that.
Great. Very helpful. So one person also says they found themselves taking deep inhalations during the meditation as if they couldn't get enough oxygen, which was surprising. Any comment on that? What does that mean?
Yeah, I've never heard that question before. It's a good one. My first instinct is to say, were you also exhaling equally enough? And then I would say, as long as you're okay and comfortable and not physically challenged, then I would use that as where your mind wanders to the sense of the breath. But then you could return your focus then to a different point away from the breath.
And I think it's just the focus on breath and breathing right now. There is a lot of emphasis now in COVID, and I just think it's a completely new experience for many people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So maybe the next time won't be that same experience, I think.
That's a good point. I always say stick with this practice at least 3 times just to get a sense. You know, if the first time it's uncomfortable or you feel like it's not resonating, that's okay. I would encourage you though to stick with it because every day is different, and you show up and work with what is, and maybe after a few times you'll start to settle into a groove.
Right, that's exactly it. Makes sense. One person, this is related to COVID, very interesting, and I hope you can have thoughts or help with this because we're all walking around with masks, and it's complete discomfort for most of us. And our breathing is more labored when you're wearing that mask already. Do you have any tips to avoid that discomfort? Any thoughts, or is it just the physical mask being there itself is causing the discomfort?
Yeah, I think that until masks are invented that don't feel so uncomfortable.
Right,
Again, we use this as part of our practice. You notice the discomfort, you notice perhaps resistance to wearing it, perhaps, you know, maybe fear is coming up, maybe concern or worry is coming up. You notice what's flowing. You try to sit on your riverbank and notice what's flowing, as long as you're safe. I mean, if it's cutting off your airflow, of course, that's an issue. But if it's just a matter of discomfort, then that's the practice in a nutshell. You know, try to sit on your riverbank and notice that, okay, this is what I'm feeling in my body right now. I'm feeling hard to breathe. This is what I'm feeling in the emotional flow. I'm feeling scared and concerned. This is what I'm thinking, and you know, this is what's flowing through the thinking mind. You know, is this right? Should I be concerned? So sit on your riverbank and use it as part of your practice.
Absolutely. I love that riverbank technique. Linda, I have to say, yeah, it's fabulous. I wanted to be mindful of time. It's already, believe it or not, an hour. So I'm going to say, just to reiterate, and I apologize to anybody if I didn't get to your questions. This is the final one. What amount of time do you suggest for daily for a new meditator? Which we kind of said Journey recommends 10 minutes a day, but if you just want to summarize your recommendations for beginning a practice. And
that's right, Susan. At Journey, we recommend the 10 minutes because, again, we feel like it's long enough to cultivate the benefits, but it's short enough to fit into your daily life. But having said that, any time, any amount of time that works for you, start there. We're all unique. We all have different lives with different, you know, time constraints, and it's not a one size fits all. So if 10 minutes seems daunting, try 5. If 5 minutes seems undoable, try 3. And if you're meditating for 10 and you think this is great, you know, take 15 or 20. So it goes both ways.
Fabulous. Thank you. Okay, with that, I think we'll wrap up this evening session, which was invaluable, if you ask me. Really helpful tools for everybody. Linda, thank you so much for being here. I want to thank all of our members for joining us this evening. As a reminder, we're sending out the recording of this to everybody tomorrow, including these slides with that. So you'll also receive the PowerPoint slides with all of those breathing techniques. And I hope to see everybody back for another SENS webinar in 2 weeks. And again, thank you for joining us, Linda. That was fantastic. And don't forget to meditate, everybody.
You're welcome, Susan. It's been a pleasure to be here, and it's been a pleasure to offer you this practice. And again, it's lifelong, so I hope that you keep it up and it brings you much joy throughout your life. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Have a great evening, everyone. Goodbye.